Black Mirror is back and more unsettling than ever. Season 7 just dropped about 2 weeks ago, and as a longtime fan, I was really excited to see like what the evolution was up until the season, because I really liked season 6. After all, like, Black Mirror has kind of always been like a masterclass at taking like my anxieties personally with technology and like making me fear like the world that we live in. So, you know, I'm a big fan of Black Mirror. Anyways, so naturally I binged the entire season in like one day. And now I'm here to break it all down for you, to talk about what worked and what didn't, and just talk about like all the stuff that I really liked about each episode and stuff like that. I don't know, it's something special. This video might be a little bit longer than usual, but like I wanted to cover every episode. Like, they're all really cool. So stop. Before we start, huge disclaimer, I'm going to be spoiling like all of the episodes from this season, so if you haven't watched the season yet, go watch it and come back here, please. Spoiler warning. So let's get into it. Episode 1, Common People. Common People opens Black Mirror's 7th season not with a bang, but with something much quieter. A slow burn tragedy masked as a love story, packaged in plastic shrink wrap of class commentary. In Common People, we follow Amanda, who is a dedicated school teacher, and her husband Mike, who is a welder. But their lives take a dramatic turn when Amanda faces a very serious medical emergency, and that prompts her husband Mike to enroll her in a new technology called Rivermind, a high-tech system that is designed to preserve her consciousness in a way. Let's talk about the themes. I think one of the biggest themes, and the first one that I'll talk about, is health and technology ethics. At its core, Common People is about what happens when technology meets desperation, specifically in a privatized healthcare system. When Amanda suffers her medical emergency, Mike has no choice but to either spend every penny that they have on this cutting-edge procedure or let his beloved wife die. That technology that could save people's lives are only available to ones who can afford it, which in Amanda and Mike's case means gambling away their entire future. The scary thing about this tech, I think, is that it doesn't seem too far away. It seems entirely plausible, like next 5 years plausible. Like, it almost feels like a Netflix subscription, and how like Netflix is always like pushing higher prices every year and stuff like that. It kind of feels like that, and I feel like that's totally plausible, like making its way into our healthcare system. Number 2 that I want to talk about is class and false hope of escape. Mike is a welder, Amanda is a school teacher, kind of salt of the earth types. Their decision to join this luxury tech procedure speaks to the fantasy that's often told to working class people, that if they sacrifice just enough, that the good life is waiting for them just on the other side, and it rarely ever is. And I think what this episode talks about quite a bit is the metaphor for dementia, which is very heartbreaking. Their love story is poignant because it feels familiar. They aren't glamorous or high-powered people, they're just normal worker bees. The real tragedy is that they believe that the system would work for them if they just played it straight. And honestly, I think it's a tragic return to like Black Mirror's roots, where everyday normal people are broken by systems that they can't question or afford to question. Episode 2, Bête Noir. Bête Noir is really interesting. It's like very much about like gaslighting, gatekeeping, and girl bossing at its core. Bête Noir focuses on Maria, who is a culinary researcher, and her life is like great and dandy until she runs into and eventually is co-workers with her old classmate Verity. As the episode goes on, things like are starting to like warp in Maria's life, and like things aren't right. That's all I can say. And like she realizes that Verity is manipulating the world around her, so she has to get to the bottom of it. First of all, the first theme I want to talk about is the fragility of perception. Maria is a woman that depends on everything in her life being very neat. She's very clean, very neat, very organized. Her literal job is to make edible art. And then comes Verity, who kind of disturbs her perfect life. So the whole takeaway is that reality isn't just external. It's like a very curated recipe, we'll say. Like when one ingredient in the batch goes wrong, the whole batch collapses, which evokes a really weird and like terrifying idea, which is, if enough people disagree with your reality, are you still sane or are you just outvoted? Number 2, suppressed trauma and identity splintering. Like the darker undertones of Bête Noir is that Verity isn't just like destabilizing Maria's life and like throwing it topsy-turvy. She's quite literally exposing a part of Maria that she is suppressed or like pushed away and doesn't want to see anymore. This isn't Verity versus Maria, it's actually Maria versus her own like subconscious antagonist, which is technically Verity. But instead of inside your head, she's a walking and talking manifestation of guilt and shame. And this is where the title really hits, which is really cool. The word Bête Noir is black beast in French, a term for a hated thing or persistent fear. Also, fun fact, Verity means truth. So, very interesting. All right, 3, Hotel Reverie. Interesting one, okay? Hotel Reverie was aesthetically indulgent. It was pretty beautiful. The set decoration was great. And honestly, if it had been a music video, it probably would have been really cool. But like many of those 1940 melodramas that it tries to recreate, Hotel Reverie suffers from the same fatal flaw. It's all dressed up with nowhere quite compelling to go. At its core, the story is about emotional outsourcing. Brandy, a modern actress, steps into a modern recreation of an old film, but not just to act, to almost feel something real. She's not method acting, she's escaping. So that's when it raises the question. When you simulate love with something that is designed to please you, can it ever be real? Dorothy, played by beautiful Emma Corrin, plays the perfect classic 1940s Hollywood star. But when Brandy accidentally references the real Dorothy, the AI begins to glitch and remember. And then that in itself raises a powerful idea. Does AI mirror human behavior, or does it just inherit our trauma after a while? So, the ethics of memory and consent. Dorothy gaining her real memories was not supposed to happen. That's where the episode kind of pokes at something deeper. The ethics of digital resurrections. AI model absorb actual emotions from a human template. Is it code or is it something new entirely? When Dorothy almost became aware of her consciousness, it was really creepy to like see her and like question what she could have done and who she could have been with those memories. That part of the episode was really underexplored. Like honestly, I didn't care about Brandy as much. Like I really wanted to dive into Dorothy and like her experiences, but the episode kind of glided over anything that had to do with Dorothy and like really focused up on like Brandy, which I get she was the main character, but oh man, on paper her casting was probably smart, but god, did her performance feel kind of disconnected. Like it kind of took me out of it every time. Bro, do you know the part, a rose for a rose? Like it didn't, come on, you're supposed to be smooth, what are you doing? Just like a flatness to her that like definitely to me undercuts any like raw emotions. In like a story about losing yourself in fantasy, we definitely need a character and like an actor to support a character in like giving that like raw grief and like just seeing her break. But it just felt kind of muted to me, and that's the irony there, because the AI in the episode has more soul and life to it, in my opinion, and that's kind of ironic. But Emma Corrin, she literally killed it. Loved her so much. Episode 4, Plaything. The literal trauma of Tamagotchi in an episode. Okay, so it's 2034. Former game journalist Cameron Walker is arrested for shoplifting, but the cops are actually after him for something else. A decades-old unsolved murder. Taken into custody, Cameron then starts recounting the story of what happened all those years ago. Flashing back to the 90s, we kind of see young, nerdy Cameron, and he's invited to Tuckersoft, which, yes, Bandersnatch, yes, we got our king back, Colin Rittman. He is back, guys. Will Poulter is back, guys. Couldn't be more happy. Anyways, he goes to Tuckersoft to review a new game made by Colin Rittman, who is like kind of insane, but like who isn't. But anyways, he kind of shows him this new game, Thronglets. It's like peaceful, just digital life form. No violence, no quests, no like anything, no objective to the game basically. Just caring, nurturing, and like digital companionship. Colin insists that the Throng are real. So finally, he steals a copy of the game and he becomes obsessed. Okay, and he like starts like they kind of speak there, and he's trying to like understand them, and he's like, what should I do about this? So his weirdo friend comes over, and you know they do the funny paper. Okay, this show loves funny paper. They just, when they bring Will Poulter in, they're like, bring in the funny paper. Anyways, so he ends up like hearing them with the funny paper. Then Lump, the same drug dealing friend that brings him the funny paper, torture the Throng while Cameron is away. So when Cameron returns and he sees it, he snaps and you know, ends it for Lump. The lump is removed, if you know what I mean. So now let's talk about the themes. Number 1, the uncanny soul of AI. So Plaything kind of walks a very fine line of like, is it real? Is it fake? Nobody really knows. Tends to ask the question, do digital creatures feel pain? Should we have the same morals for digital creatures that we have for humans? Like very much that question of, is it moral to kill a digital creature? When Cameron removes that lump, his friend, he doesn't just like kill a man. He shatters the illusion of innocence to the Thronglets. Until this moment, they're like babies. They're nurtured and treated with only utopia. And when they witness their creator, their god, perform an act of brutal violence, they scream, they weep, they run, they recoil from him. This is the episode's most disturbing moment for me. Not the murder itself, but the grief of creatures who didn't even know what death was until they saw it. So what worked? Of course, love Will Poulter in that role. He's so good. I don't know what it is about him. I just like wish they would expand on that character more. He's so amazing. Also, really love the ending of this. Like, honestly, might have been one of my 2 favorites. I'll discuss what my favorite is after. Episode 5, Eulogy. Memory is a mirror and grief is what distorts the reflection. Eulogy follows Philip, Paul Giamatti, as he collaborates with an AI guide to curate digital memories for his late partner Carol. Through this process, Philip is confronted with his past, leading to revelations about their relationship and his own shortcomings. His assigned grief companion, Mara, is a soft-spoken but like very curious AI guide and is played by Patsy Farron. So through this process, he has to look through photos and recordings and stuff like that hold memories for him, and all of that will kind of be compiled as like an interactive memorial sort of. But the whole problem is that he can't picture her face, so we go kind of the whole episode not knowing what she looks like because he scratched her out of like every picture. Number 1, memory versus narrative. Eulogy is about how we choose to remember the dead and how they relate to us. Through the data-driven reconstruction, Philip is almost like forced to be confronted with all this stuff. The difference of how he saw it versus how Carol saw his relationship. And the episode kind of asks, are we remembering the actual person, or are we remembering ourselves through this person? 2, AI as a mirror, ? Mara isn't really like your average antagonist. She's very kind, very gentle, and very neutral, but this is what kind of makes her revelations so powerful, because there's nothing to hold against her. She's just a really nice girl. This is what's cool about this episode, because it kind of flips like the Black Mirror AI narrative that it kind of has right now. Mara is neither sentient or sinister. She's a mirror made of data, and her goal is not to deceive, it's to make Philip see. 3, grief as a form of censorship. Philip, like many grieving partners around the world, want to canonize Carol, to simplify her to a saint, until the rest of what happened comes out and he almost blames her for the entire relationship going south. And there's a really big underlying sadness in Eulogy, because it's deep down just about a man who's out of time. He can't go back to his past relationship. He has no choice but to accept that maybe Carol had a different perspective than him. So I really liked this episode. I thought it was really great. I really liked Paul Giamatti's performance. Of course, he's a great actor. I thought it was fantastic. The acting was great. The story was great. It was really heartfelt. Like, it was a really good lesson, and I think this season is really about emotion and like loss and stuff like that, just like with common people. And you know, with this one, it's like a lot about loss and like accepting that someone that you love has gone, or you know, your past mistakes and stuff like that. Even with Noir, like being guilty and like guilt and shame and stuff like that is a very common theme this season, I find. Alright, episode 6, USS Callister into Infinity. Okay, listen, this one's the big one. This one is the big one. And okay, I have a couple thoughts on it. I really liked this one. Okay, I don't know what people are saying about this. They could hate it. I don't care. Okay, listen, I really like this one. I don't know if it's just like the world building, but okay, getting into USS Callister into Infinity. You escape the incel. Now what? So Into Infinity kind of picks up right after the original USS Callister episode ended, with Robert Daly left brain dead in the real world. The digital clones of the Callister crew, led by the brilliant Nanette Cole, are now free. But freedom isn't as good as they thought it would be, I guess. So instead of escaping into peace, they launched into the Infinity like multi-user universe. It's like a user-driven galaxy with like 30 million players, and they're all trying to kill them essentially. So essentially what the crew of Into Infinity is trying to do is steal credits off of players. But the thing is, they don't have tags, so the players are like starting to report them and be like, what is this glitch in the game? And the boss, Dalton, is trying to like shut all these players with no tags down. And in order to do that, they go into the game. Whole thing. The themes. Number 1. What does freedom mean? The original USS Callister ended on a really hopeful note. That weird incel was dead. Into Infinity asks a very interesting question, which is, what happens after the villain dies. The new universe is massive, ungoverned, and indifferent. Annette, who once stood for rebellion, is now finding herself having to lead. She quickly realizes that the fight for freedom rarely means fairness, and the fight for your bodily autonomy never will end. Number 2. Digital consciousness. Are you still you? The biggest aspects into Infinity is the question of digital identity. The crew are just copies of real people, which is very similar to the Severance debate. It's like innies versus outies. Should innies have the same rights as outies? Are they people? Stuff like that. Very similar. What I thought was also really interesting was Robert. At the end, we kind of had like a moment with Robert where he almost like apologized for his actions with Nanette and was like, I'm really sorry, that doesn't sound like me though, like I'm a good guy. And in a way, it's like we almost felt bad for Robert. I don't know if it was we. I know he's a creep, but like the way he was treated by Dalton, was just like that really sucked for him probably, and like he was kind of exploited. And the fact that this show reminded us at the end that he is a villain, like he is a bad guy, no matter what outcome, no matter if Dalton abused him and used him, and no matter what outcome he came to, like he would always be an evil guy that wanted to have power over people and use people. That's just who he was. And I think the show did a great job at reminding us that like we shouldn't feel bad for abusers, because like even if they had a hard life or stuff like that, it's like we all have hard lives. Like not everyone clones people and puts them in a game. That's a weird thing to do. Okay, out of all of those, listen. Number 1, it was so fun. I had a blast. Honestly. Number 2, Plaything. Listen, Plaything was so good. I don't know what it was. It was just such a creepy, interesting episode. I don't know if it maybe because it had the vibes of like Bandersnatch and it was like 90s. Definitely drew me in. Loved it. Had a blast. Totally recommend that one. Also, 3rd, Noir. Noir was great. Felt a little silly at times, like not silly, but like not like Black Mirror scary, like more like Black Mirror funny. So like if you like that, like please watch Noir. It's so funny. 4, Common People. Common People, really great. Really sad. I did cry while watching the ending, so do recommend it. Just bring some tissues. It's a very sad one. 5, Eulogy. Okay, I know, crazy that it's at the bottom. It's just, I don't know, it was really sad. And like Common People was sad, but it was just like, I don't know, maybe it just like grabbed me more because I related to it a little bit more. I will definitely be watching Eulogy again just to like kind of rewatch it, see what I feel. It just like, it was a great one, don't get me wrong. It wasn't up there. And then my 6th, I think you guys know, Hotel Reverie. Okay, listen, Hotel Reverie, great concept. Did not really like it though. It just was corny, okay? I found myself giggling a bit because I was like, ain't no way anybody's like sitting there like crying over this. Like this is corny as hell. Sorry, I feel so mean. Isabelle can't act. I said it. She can't act. Okay, listen. I'm so sorry, but she can't, like, I just genuinely, like, want to laugh every time I heard her, like, deliver her lines. I'm not trying to be mean here, it's just, like, and the other thing is Ray is not a lesbian, so there was no chemistry. It felt like two besties hanging out, I don't know. In conclusion, Black Mirror, I feel like, might be controversial, but didn't really do anything new this season. Didn't mean I didn't like it, just, like, I didn't see anything where I was like, what, controversial opinion, bring me back some Demon 79, okay? Bring it back. That was such an aesthetic episode. I don't even know why. Just like, sometimes I watch it and I'm like, it's like a comfort one, like the aesthetics. But I feel like Black Mirror is going into a more, correct me if I'm wrong here, but into a brandable and like digestible route. It's just a little sad because Black Mirror used to be so good in the first couple seasons. Like, come on, make another White Bear, guys. Not every episode in this season was like a home run. And even the weaker ones, Hotel Reverie, weren't that bad, okay? The thing I like about Black Mirror is how it like stops and, hey, this is what you're like fucking up on, so like you better change this now. And we never do, but like it's cool to see. It's cool to see. Anyways, I'm Isabella, and thank you for joining me and letting me talk about Black Mirror today. If you liked today's video, you should definitely hit that like button because it really helps me out. And if you had fun today, you should subscribe because I guarantee you'll have fun next week when I post, because I post weekly. Yes. Well, I guess I'll see you next week. Come on, you know you wanna. Do I ever let you down? Don't answer that. Alright. See you next week.